Happy Thursday, everybody. This is Dominic D'Angelo of adfreeshows.com, scoops.com, and Rumor and Innuendo. And hey, you might have covered and listened all about AEW Dynamite last night after shows ended, but we give you a little bit time to breathe and the product breathe a little bit. And here we are with Robert Karplus, WE Creative _ish, to talk about AEW Dynamite today, not last night. Robert, how are you?
I'm with the rest of you guys. I have no idea what Dom's talking about. I don't know what other shows people are listening to. If you're listening to something else, stop it. All you need is the 30 minutes of Rumor and Innuendo every Monday through Friday and working stiff.
That's right.
Every week. But that's a horse of a different color. That's a little bit more comedic. I'm making up words. You forgot the W and AEW. We're doing great. Let's say hi to some of the folks here. We got Alt Jake, who says, "Morning, everyone." The wrestling old head said, "Good after morning, guys." Andre Owens said, "R&I tonight is WWE Impact. I mean TNA Impact." That's funny. That is good stuff right there. But we have got a lot to talk about coming off of AEW Dynamite last night, as well as some other random AEW and some WWE news.
Little touch of WWE news if we have the time. But
is that the proper hand gesture for a little touch?
Little touch.
That doesn't look appropriate. That looks like a Blue Chew segue, and we're not doing that just yet, guys. If you're listening to us in audio format, and we thank you on Spotify, iTunes, and the like, go back and see the beginning of what Dom was doing. What he thinks is a gesture that means a little bit. It's wildly inappropriate.
Now that I look, it's a little offensive. I will say that.
I'm my pearls. I'm horribly offended, Dom.
Robert, were you offended by last night's AEW Dynamite?
I would be offended by AEW's Dynamite last night if I spent $50 and watched the pay-per-view. I think that Dynamite last night. I'm pulling up the old notes just so I can fully refresh. I think there was some solid things on there, specifically the main event. I think was really intriguing, but there didn't feel like there was any dramatic fallout from anything we saw happen at Double or Nothing. You watched a 5-hour pay-per-view, and nothing felt like, oh my gosh, if I missed this, I have to go back and see it. Or if you tuned in live to this pay-per-view, that you felt like, I'm glad I saw this because I would have been totally lost.
Yeah, looking at that in retrospect from Wednesday to Sunday, there wasn't really a whole lot that they followed up on from the fallout, aside from Edge being injured and them
Adam Copeland being injured.
Yeah,
begging you.
Adam Copeland being injured.
Product integrity.
And then them finding a substitute kind of way to determine. It looks like another tournament, Robert. Can't wait. But yeah, there was nothing that you could really sink your teeth into from that night because MJF wasn't there. You know, there wasn't anything going on with Darby Allin or the likes of Team AEW. So, what's the status of that? Nothing.
We talked about it yesterday and in the preview, and we started reading over. I said, it's weird there's no mention of MJF whatsoever. I would say the return of one of your top stars, a former, champion, one of your big names, would be a big spectra hanging over this show. And it said they pushed it off a week. When you're in Los Angeles, that's kind of a big market. You want to give them something significant to take home. And the fact that you didn't put MJF there when you're in the middle of these negotiations with Warner Discovery, knowing that there's a lot of executives who are there in Los Angeles, you want to put your best foot forward. I would have used MJF on this show. It felt like a strange thing that there was a video package reminding the audience who he was, but not having MJF there, I think, was a mistake. Opening with Mercedes Moné, interesting choice.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit. I thought, just from the outward perspective, she's not a very good promo, but this was probably one of her better promos, maybe? Robert, what do you think about that?
I think she has an identity crisis with the audience. Number one, from a production end. And I love the folks in AEW production, but the balloons were lacking. It looked like a C+ bat mitzvah. and we want to go at least B plus or above for the CEO.
Yes.
She's talking to this audience that for the last few weeks has seen her as sort of a cocky heel. And now she's out there trying to be a babyface, but every time she gets braggadocious, the audience immediately triggers to boo her.
Right.
So they don't really know what this CEO character is. Then you reveal on the screen Sky Blue. And Sky Blue is the one who was responsible for, not to tip my hat for this coming December, moment of the year, which was Mercedes Moné being attacked and Alex Marvez, the best in the business, from a distance. Guys, hey, Mercedes, hey. Help. Hello. And that was our payoff. Our payoff for this storyline was that it was me, Austin. It was me all along. And she's the one that attacked Mercedes Moné. And the way they blocked it, it worked. You have her watching the screen. Sky Blue comes from behind. She attacks Mercedes Moné. Going great. We've got another strong feud for Mercedes to win. I can't wait to see the match in a week. Maybe they save it for Forbidden Door. But no, Mr. D'Angelo. We get the match in the same show. The reveal of weeks and weeks and weeks of who attacked Mercedes Moné, who was behind this dastardly assault, and it just leads to a middle of the show match with a clean finish. Did that strike you as odd?
It did, and it did strike me as odd as Sky Blue being that big reveal, because when you saw her, you didn't think that was much of a surprise. We've seen Sky Blue several times. She hasn't been a prominent figure that much. And so, like, for her to be the attacker and then for you to just kind of hotshot that whole angle on one night, it felt like they were trying to cultivate that sudden excitement that Nitro had when they had all these stars. But again, no offense to Sky Blue, but it's Sky Blue versus Mercedes Moné. So it just kind of felt lost in the shuffle, you know? And
it feels like they're handcuffed by this Forbidden Door pay-per-view, because it felt like the payoff for this story all along was going to be that it was Chris Statlander.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That even when Mercedes started talking about Stokely and Chris, that it should have been like, I told you they were scumbags. I thought at that moment Stokely was going to come out and say, well, you saw that coming, but you sure didn't see the fact that we were behind your attack. And then, boom, you got Chris Statlander, who's now a hot heel, going up against Mercedes. It's clear babyface heel dynamics. Stokely cutting promos on Mercedes would be a lot of fun. But they can't do that for Forbidden Door, because the rules of this pay-per-view, which feels outdated already, is AEW versus the world. But the best stars of the world are currently under AEW contract. We have Okada. We have Ospreay. What more do you need?
Yeah. And no offense to some of these players that are from CMLL.
No. Plenty of offense for some of these players from CMLL. All due respect to Heki Caro.
Oh my gosh.
That dude came out looking like you hit like the randomizer button on your creator wrestler in an old SmackDown game. He's got like the S&M garb and he's got the mask on, and they're hyping this dude. And I'm going, I don't know who this is. This can't be real.
Yeah. And it's, you're pigeonholing yourself. You're painting yourself into a corner here, and you don't necessarily have to. You can have elements of a quote unquote Forbidden Door if you want to, but make it feel high profile when you're doing it. And what's the woman that came out there, the New Japan Strong champion?
So I will credit AEW. Stephanie Vaquer. I'm now, I feel like I'm you with these names. They showed a video package of her earlier in the show, hyping that she's CMLL champion. She's the New Japan Women's Strong champion. She has an impressive pedigree, and you're going, oh, I know who this woman is. She clearly is important on a global stage. I can't wait to see what happens with her. And then you have her come out and face off with Mercedes. And I'm like, that's great, but I just got whiplash because I just got a month's worth of storylines from Mercedes Moné in one night.
Right.
I've won the title. I'm your champion. I figured out who attacked me. I'm going to get revenge. I got my revenge, and here comes my new challenger.
It's so much jammed into like 20 minutes of a 2-hour program.
Dude, it's a lot. The if there was a loser of the night, and
Okay.
it's sort of unfortunate, I'd say the loser of this evening was Swerve Strickland.
Yes. Okay. Give your reasoning, but I think I know why.
So Swerve wins his big match against Christian Cage at Double or Nothing. Doesn't open the show. Second segment. Second segment is not your world champion. Second segment is like, here comes, Roderick Strong.
Yeah.
All due respect to Roderick Strong. It's not where you put your world champion who just successfully won his blood feud. You have him going up against Killswitch to promote this House of the Dragons match. Or House of the Dragons show.
Yeah.
Killswitch was Christian's, running buddy. He's number 2. He beats him, but he doesn't beat him initially with the stomp. There's no reason for Killswitch to kick out of the swerve stomp.
Right.
You need to make your champion look strong. You need to make your champion look important. He just felt like a dude on the show, and he beat a dinosaur. Yeah. More on Swerve later on, because we got to talk about what I'm sure was your favorite segment of the week. It's TV time with Chris Jericho, and you are the president and owner of the Brian Keith fan club.
That's correct. And he further established that in this segment because he spoke with a passion and a fire for the learning tree. I did like it how he kind of leaned into that, getting fired up and getting like kind of upset. He showed personality, and you do want to see that like when it's coming through there. So the segment's a little over the top. We talked about it a little bit yesterday about how, it seems like a very forced angle for Chris Jericho and what he's trying to kind of convey and things like that. I didn't mind it. I really didn't mind it. And I like that it set up Samoa Joe and Hook getting having an alliance with one another. So I'm intrigued by it. I'm not against it necessarily, Robert, but give me your thoughts.
So Brian Keith, bless his heart, comes out there dressed like a Confederate general. And his character is just guy who yells. There's no voice modulation. It was just, I'm not going to do it into the microphone because I don't trust myself to not blow everybody's eardrums out. But it's him just screaming like, I love Chris Jericho. How could you not be in this group? He's the greatest. And the Jericho, part of what bugs me about the Jericho thing that he's doing right now, it feels so much like TV Funhouse with Bray Wyatt.
Oh,
the Firefly Funhouse segments. Yeah, where you're doing it like it's a children's cartoon show or a kid's programming. He's talking to you in the condescending tone, and it's, "Hey guys, look how great this." It was like immediate nails on a chalkboard for me, and I was trying to give it a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, believe it or not. Just because Chris came out and said something, I think it was yesterday, about, I'm not just here to be here. I want to contribute. And I thought, all right, maybe he's doubling down and refocusing, and we're going to get an entertaining Chris Jericho. It's just, you had the Jeritron there, so you're thinking like this looks like the highlight reel, but it's not as good as the highlight reel. It's not as good as the Firefly Funhouse. Brian Keith yelling, which is fine, except he looks so small next to Jericho.
He did.
Who is not a tall man. And next to that tree prop, Brian Keith looked like one of the children that would be part of this show. And I'm not heightist. I don't care. I some of the best wrestlers I think
you work
that
with me. You can't be heightist.
I'll be honest. I genuinely have no idea how tall you are.
Really?
We've never met in person.
That's a good point.
You could be 6'4".
Okay.
You could be a towering, lumbering giant.
I'm like Billy Gunn, man.
No, you don't have breathing problems. You're fine. So now that I'm like, look, so this Don Callis Orange Cassidy thing.
Yeah.
So they've spent a lot of TV time on this, right?
They have. Yes.
You had Don scouting Orange Cassidy. He was whispering in his ear. They were like hanging out on TV. At no point was Orange Cassidy like, get the hell away from me.
Yeah.
At the same time, at no point did it make sense that Don Callis was looking at this guy going like, Yeah, this is the best. This guy is exactly why I started the Don Callis family. He checks off all the boxes. So you get to this segment of I'm presenting you with a contract, and then Orange Cassidy immediately rips it up. So it's like, well, shame on you for investing time in this angle, guys.
Yeah, there was really no setup to it. Like, I wanted to see, kind of Don schmooze him in a certain way, and Orange Cassidy kind of create this air of like, I don't know, or like skepticism and all that stuff. But we didn't get anything like that. It was just like, okay, he's been following him around. There's little stuff going on. What is going on between these two? He offers him a contract, then he rips it up there. So it's just like not a lot to it. What did you think of the payoff of it being Trent joining the family and all that kind of stuff?
So Trent earns a spot in the Don Callis family for losing to Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
When you think excellence, you think the Don Callis family.
Mm-hmm.
It's also weird because they don't at any point in time acknowledge Takeshita losing
Right
at the pay-per-view, which I thought there was going to be a payoff in some capacity with that. They don't acknowledge Will Ospreay winning the international title.
Yep.
They don't even acknowledge Ospreay as part of the Don Callis family during these segments.
No.
Maybe it's our fault for paying attention, man.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't justify what accomplishment happened in this segment at all? Especially because it was Chris Statlander and Stokely who introduced Trent, who's joining a different stable. When I thought Stokely is a manager who would want to build up a stable.
Just don't, Robert. You just got to
just don't. You hit the nail on the head, Nom. That's the best advice possible.
Just don't.
Just don't.
Just don't.
This was me trying to be positive on Dynamite, and it's like, and I can't. Here's, I think, and I feel like I have to say this every week, multiple times. Having written television and having to put the stress test of TV, because we had our writers for the writing team on Raw and SmackDown, where every segment was pulled apart several times. We'd sit and write. Alex Greenfield would go and sit and like bang out a part of SmackDown, and then we'd all kind of chew on it. Then we put it in front of guys like Ted DiBiase and Michael Hayes and Dusty Rhodes, who have been around for a long time, and then we spit it all through them again. Then it goes in front of Stephanie and Hunter, and they mull it over. Then it goes in front of Vince, and Vince pulls it apart and asks a billion questions. Then it gets typed up, and we go to TV, and then it gets presented to the agents. So you got it in front of Patterson and Briscoe and Arn Anderson and Fit Finlay and Dean Malenko. Smart guys who understand the business, and they pull it apart. And then it gets to television. So by that point in time, 6 or 7 times over, you have had to litigate every single segment and make it make sense and make it justified. And some of it was not the best because that's kind of the roster we had. And some of it was, it's what Vince wants. And you're like, okay, fine. But when I look at this stuff here, it's like you have a lot of great talent backstage, a lot of smart people to talk to. Where is their feedback when they see some of these segments and say, what is the goal of what you're trying to accomplish here? What is the payoff? What is the methodology behind what you're getting? We saw that further in the Elite segment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the Elite come out because of Adam Copeland's injury. And I guess they already planned the Lamborghini spot. So they're like, we're just going to do it anyway.
Right.
It's, hey, Okada, we got you a Lamborghini. Hey, Jack Perry, we got you a TNT title.
Yeah.
Which would have been fine, quite frankly. Like, okay, whatever. It's not really, it's a title that has waned back and forth in terms of importance. I think Darby made it really important for a short window of time. Cody made it important for a window of time.
Absolutely.
Brody obviously made it very important way back when, but now it's just sort of, it's a title. And you then had Christopher Daniels come out to say, I'm now the interim EVP. So we went from a show that had no authority figures for the better part of 4 years to now there's like 7 authority figures.
Yes. I'm okay with that, though, as Daniels being the baby face, so he keeps everything regulated. It's like you want to put a plug on all that crap because you don't want to heel authority figures because, geez, look how many times we've seen that over and done. And it's a tired trope that we've seen. So I'm okay with that. I think too, what you were saying too, while WWE had a lot of filters to go through, and sometimes that was to its detriment for what it could happen and what you ultimately conveyed on television. I think there's only one, and it just that everything gets pushed to him, and then he's like, "Yeah, sure," and then it gets gone out on television. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit later on down the show. But yeah, this segment,
there's two insane things to the segment I haven't even gotten to.
Okay,
yet.
Let's go. Yeah, keep going.
Number one, the Elite won on Sunday.
Yeah.
They not only did they win, they beat the crap out of Tony Khan.
Yeah.
No follow-up on that, by the way. No update on status, Tony Khan. Nothing. Number two, they win, and they somehow lose power. We won. We beat Team AEW, and now Christopher Daniels is the authority figure.
Yeah, what was the point of the match?
Not only was that what the point of the match, they went to war in a match that was so... This is a plug for Working Stiff. Peek behind the curtain. I've not recorded it yet. When this show is over, Dan St. Germain and I are going to record Working Stiff with Scott Chapman. If you thought my response to that pay-per-view on Tuesday's broadcast was stiff, you ain't seen nothing yet.
You ain't seen nothing.
But the one thing what is the takeaway from that match was these guys did every wacky Looney Tunes style Acme spot possible, and the Elite were out there fresh as a daisy when a dude was lit on fire.
Right. And commented on it.
And they're all fine.
Yes.
They look better than... They look great. Not selling a thing.
Yeah.
But hey, the Acclaimed were on TV.
They were.
And they've been on TV in like 7 months. So I guess they're the new FTR for this feud.
There we go.
Going forward. Cool. Then the main event.
Well, hey, don't you forget, maybe you want to forget, is that Eliminator match, Robert. That was a big deal.
God, I forgot about the Eliminator match.
Yeah.
John Moxley versus Rocky Romero. Give me your thoughts on that barn burner.
Look, you're going to do an Eliminator match after you just did an Eliminator match. Make this one mean something. You're putting a lot of cachet into Rocky Romero, from a backstage perspective, from everything like that. He's got a good charisma and good ring presence, everything like that. Have him beat John Moxley. You automatically do have then a Forbidden Door match with him associated with CMLL, with him associated with
CMLL.
I know I said too many.
It's fun,
but
that's why I'm here.
There you go. You can set it up. You can build a program with him and Moxley and make it fun. Have a good time with it. And hey, if you want to, have him beat Moxley. And just throwing it out there, seeing how it goes. But there you go. No. They just make it mean nothing again. Eliminator matches mean zero. Absolutely zero. It drives me crazy. If I had hair, I'd pull it out right now.
It was so less than pointless. I'm gonna let your angered rant sit for it. Main event. My takeaway from the main event. 2 takeaways.
Okay.
Number one, damn, they have a lot of really good talent.
Yeah.
Jay White, Ospreay, Claudio, big stars.
Absolutely.
Guys who feel like, they can absolutely go in the ring. Pac absolutely can go in the ring. Mystico, depending on the day, can go in the ring.
Orange Cassidy, who was beaten up earlier, was still fresh as a daisy in there. And he had the bandage. He had the bandage on his head. And they played the other music. We're switching up music when it's like dark orange. Like it's like full pulp Orange Cassidy or something like that. You bring in outside surprises like Mystico, Umino, who's Moxley's protege, Leo Rush. Yes.
No comment. And then obviously Hekakero, my all-time favorite.
My favorite.
And the winner of this great match will, by God, Ospreay. What?
Exactly. What?
No disrespect to Ospreay.
No.
He is the best thing they have. I said this in the working stiff group, and I stand by this. Will Ospreay right now is Eddie Murphy when he was on Saturday Night Live.
That's a great.
It was like Eddie Murphy was a megastar. You had Joe Piscopo, who was fine, and then a cast of nobodies. And you literally tuned in just to see Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
Will Ospreay is going to be AEW World Champion at some point in time. I think that we all agree on that.
100%.
Why on God's green earth, if you were going with Ospreay as the next challenger for the title, did you have him win the stupid, meaningless international title over the weekend? Does him zero favors. Number two, why are you putting up against Swerve?
Right.
You're trying to build Swerve Strickland up as your main event babyface. You don't give him TV time to talk to the audience. You don't give him meaningful matches for them to sink their teeth into. You don't give him angles that mean anything. I saw somebody call the Christian thing a microwave feud because it's just kind of like pop it in the oven, ready to go. We know what it is. It's sustenance.
Yes. That's not bad.
So now I'm going to get to see Ospreay get his first title opportunity against Swerve, where either he's going to win the title at not All In London, where it
Robert's so frustrated.
$1 billion.
There you go.
I froze for a moment. Yeah, sorry. People are going to pay $1 billion to go watch Ospreay win the title in the UK, but instead we're getting it at Forbidden Door in Long Island, New York, the greatest place on earth, which will be the site of, I guess, MJF versus Roosh.
Who knows?
Like it feels like such a panic move.
Yeah.
And I talked about this before, that there was a possibility that Christian could have won against Swerve if they really needed it in case of emergency break glass situation.
Mm-hmm.
But you had Swerve win just to put him in there with Ospreay, where best case scenario, it's babyface, and the crowd is split.
Right.
But in reality, it's just going to make Swerve look significantly lesser than.
Here's the thing, too, Robert, is watching that match and seeing all the talent that's in there. I look at somebody like Claudio, who's in there. What a presence. And like, he was selling good. He was just looking just like a beast in there. Put him against Swerve. Make a program with those guys. Build it up. I don't give a crap about Forbidden Door. And clearly this main event does not have the connection of Forbidden Door since they're both full-time AEW guys. Put Claudio in there, repackage him, make him this own like dominant force, and build towards Swerve Strickland. And heck, you could have Claudio beat Swerve. You can create that intrigue. You can make another top star in that. And I don't know. It seems very what you were saying, such a rush panic job where you're just like, let's get Ospreay in there. He's our top guy. Let's put him there right now because this is what the people want. I'm with you, Robert. I'm with you.
I'm totally lost. It sucks for Swerve. This does not feel like a vote of confidence for Swerve Strickland at all. It doesn't make me more excited. I think the match is obviously going to be incredible. Maybe they'll dance to Uptown Funk again, which I would love to see. But these are two wildly talented wrestlers, but this is such a weird casting, weird decision. I thought it was going to be Claudio, quite frankly, too. I had that same thought.
Yeah.
Or there's also the fact that, like, I wish that there was some sort of large heel group who just won a significant match on Sunday that could put forth somebody to challenge for this title. Man,
don't know.
Oh well, it'll be a head scratcher. But as you're scratching your head, I got a recommendation of some things you can put in your ears, and that is the podcasts that Mr. Dominic D'Angelo is the executive producer of. Dom, what do you got?
That's correct. Hey, you want to tune in live to two different shows that I'm on? Do it tonight. Starting at 6:15 Eastern Standard Time. Go to 4horsemanetwork.com. You will catch me, Magnum TA, and Greg Gagne live on the 4 Horseman Network. I have something in tap to talk about. We'll see if we get to it because we got a lot of good live fan interaction, and you guys can chime in with your questions. Ask Greg a question, ask Magnum a question, good stuff. And then, hey, later on this evening, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, RVDTV.com. Me and RVD go live. So tune into that. We got some good stuff to talk about on that one too. And Robert, you mentioned it. We're recording Working Stiff here, right? Coming up.
We're recording Working Stiff. That'll drop either later on today or tomorrow. We're going to be talking Double or Nothing. We're going to be talking a little bit of Dynamite. We're also going to be talking the Mount Rushmore of wrestlers who have tarnished their legacy. So that's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. What's always a hell of a lot of fun is Rumor and Innuendo every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern on a plethora of platforms, including the WWE Creative _ISH X account, the Dominic D'Angelo X account, the SE Scoops X account, the Podcast Heat X account. Podcast Heat is who makes this show possible. The Working Stiff X account, as well as on YouTube on ad-free shows, Working Stiff and Rumor and Innuendo. We thank you guys so much for tuning in today. So on behalf of the I don't even know what the hell you're wearing, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpolis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
It's just a touch, a little nice touch.